Lady Justice used to stand so tall, blindfold on, she'd hear us all. Rich or poor didn't matter then, truth would speak, justice would win. But somewhere along this winding road, the scales grew heavy and the system slowed down. Money talks and power plays while victims wait for better days. Where has justice gone? Where did she flee? The blindfold slipping. Now we see the game is rigged, the deck is stacked for those who can't fight back. Where has justice gone? Predators get off easy while families mourn what can't be fixed. The courtroom doors swing both ways, but not for those who can't pay. We must fight for those we've lost, count every tear, pay every price. Stand tall when systems fail, seeking truth behind the veil. Where has justice gone? Where did she flee? The blindfold slipping. Now we see the game is rigged, the deck is stacked for those who can't fight back. But where has justice gone? Protect the innocent, protect the child, no matter race or creed or color, rich or poor, it shouldn't matter. Justice is what we're after for all. Affluence can't buy a free pass when children's safety is what we ask. Every child deserves the same protection in justice' name. From the courthouse to the highest court, justice feels like a last resort. But we won't stop, we won't give in until justice lives again. We'll bring justice home. Make her see that equal treatment. The key, fix the scale, straighten the stack for those who can't fight back. We'll bring justice home. Lady Justice, hear our call. Stand for one, stand for all. Put the blindfold back in place. Give us truth, give us grace.
Live on the air, it's Trial Junkies United with your host, Z.
Good evening, my friends. How are we tonight? Fallow is here first. Irish Amy. Let's see, we have OnlyFan. my vamp brother. And Ken Rosenberg is here with us. Chris G. Oh, I'm so glad you guys joined us. Can't wait to see your guys' takes on this case. It's going to be a good one. When I was coming up with my ideas and stuff, one of the titles it gave me was When the System Eats Itself. I thought that was kind of cool. But greetings to all of my truth seekers and my justice warriors. I'm your storyteller in this wilderness of injustice. My ride or die Doc is riding shotgun as we navigate the darkness where the predators hunt and the system fails.
Hello,
Are you ready,
everybody.
Doc?
Yep, I'm here and ready.
Awesome. We're ready to shine a light on the forgotten stories society would rather leave buried. Buckle up. The path ahead grows bumpy as we lead you through another section of this nightmare they call the justice system. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how corrupt does a case have to be before the state attorney's own attorney general of Oklahoma stands up in court and says, "We screwed up. This man didn't get a fair trial." Now, for Richard Glossip, that moment came in 2023, 26 years after he was first accused of deleting someone. But here's the twist. Even when Oklahoma's top prosecutor said that conviction was bogus, the state appeals court said, "Nah, we're good with executing him anyway." Welcome to Oklahoma, where admitting error is apparently harder than deleting an innocent man. Trial junkies and justice warriors, let me ask you something. What happens when the system becomes so corrupt that it literally cannot correct itself? Because that's exactly what we're dealing with here. And this is our AG of Oklahoma. So think on that. But let's start with the crime, okay? Because that's a good story. We're going to start at the beginning. January 7th of 1997, Barry Van Treese lies deleted in room 102 of the Best Budget Inn. Now, it's kind of a seedy motel on the outskirts of Oklahoma City. He's been brutally beaten, and there was a baseball bat involved. And the killer is a man named Justin Sneed. So Sneezy here was a 19-year-old meth addict, and he was a handyman that worked at this establishment. And he confessed to the crime. The mastermind, according to the prosecutors, though, was Richard Glossip, the motel manager. Now, just to track back a bit, Mr. Van Treese here was the owner of the property. Okay, so we have the owner has been deleted. We have Sneezy, the meth addict handyman, who says, "Hey, I did it." But the prosecutors saying, "Well, it was the manager." Now, this is Sneezy here. And the problem, there was no physical evidence, zero, linking Glossip to the crime. None. The entire case was built on the word of Sneezy here, the 19-year-old meth addict, the actual deleter. Now think about that for a moment. We have Mr. Glossip sitting on death row for nearly 3 decades. Oh, therapist you know has joined us. Yay! A man is sitting there, all based on the testimony of the person who swung the bat. This is the same person who had every reason in the world to lie to save his life and point his finger. He did it. Okay? And he made a deal with the devil. Let's be honest here. And here's how perverse Oklahoma's justice system really is. Justin Sneezy Sneed, the guy who actually deleted Barry Van Treese, got life without parole. He's the one that did the crime. He confessed to the crime. He got life without parole. Richard Glossip, accused of orchestrating it, got the DP. So to spell that out, the man who took out another man by using his bat gets to live. But the man accused of asking him to do it is put on the DP, all based on Sneezy's word. But it gets worse. In September and October of 2015, Richard Glossip received 3 consecutive stays of execution following concerns about Oklahoma's lethal injection protocols here. 3 stays came after Oklahoma's Department of Corrections officials discovered they had mistakenly used potassium acetate instead of potassium chloride during Charles Frederick Warner's execution on January 15th, 2015. The drug mix-up established execution protocols, prompting Oklahoma's Attorney General at that time, Scott Pruitt, to order a multi-county grand jury investigation into this error. Had Oklahoma proceeded with Richard Glossip's execution during this period, it would have been carried out without affording him that fair trial. That the now Attorney General here, Genter Drummond, said in 2023 he never got a fair trial. So that's insane, right? So Drummond does something really unprecedented. You got to give him that. He orders an independent investigation into the Glossip case, okay? What they found is going to terrify every one of us. Now, our star witness, Sneezy here, lied under oath about critical facts. Shocker, isn't it? He lied. Sneezy had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. He was prescribed lithium while he was in jail awaiting trial. But at Glossip's trial, he testified under oath that he had never seen a psychiatrist and that any medication was just for a cold. Last I checked, we can even check with therapists, that's in the chat. Do they use lithium for a cold? I don't think so. Hey, FarQ, glad to see you, darling, or sir, whichever. Now remember, you guys, when it comes to pronouncing names, I'm lousy at it. But I give it my very best. So if I mispronounce something, I apologize to whoever gets offended.
Wait a minute, lithium for cold? Isn't that stuff they make batteries out of?
Well, there are lithium batteries, but lithium is also used for bipolar disorder. But like therapist, says, it's a hard negative. You do not get it for a cold. So that's something to think about. We don't get it for a cold. But the prosecutors, they knew this testimony was false, but they didn't correct it. And I'm sure Ken can tell us, as our resident lawyer, you can't do that. That's a big no, right? So they had documents proving that Sneezy's psychiatric treatment, they buried them. They let false testimony stand that could have destroyed their key witness, Sneezy's credibility. Can you believe it, Ken? Let it stand. So here goes our corruption. The Doc always knows this is where I start doing the same craziness. Misconduct in this case. The Oklahoma Attorney General's independent investigation uncovered what was described as a cascade of police and prosecutorial misconduct under the prosecutor, Connie Smothermans. That's Smothermon. Want to make sure we get her name out there correctly. Leadership. Prosecutor Connie Smotherman engaged in multiple forms of serious misconduct. Doc, OnlyFans, put your information up there.
Okay.
On lithium. So serious misconduct that violated constitutional standards established in, I think it's NAPUE versus Illinois. I could be wrong about that. It's NAPUE, and I'm sorry if I am. But this knowingly eliciting a false testimony. Smotherman deliberately obtained false testimony from her key witness, Justin, Sneezy, regarding his mental health history and that lithium prescription.
Okay,
Sneezy,
wait a minute. Now, OnlyFans is saying that this is used, lithium is used to treat certain mental health problems.
yes.
And therapist, is saying it's the same element. Interesting.
Yes, we'll do research afterwards.
Yeah.
Give us something to look at. I mean, there's a great song by Evervance called Lithium. I think that's the name of the song. I just love Amy Lee. Okay, so back to our story. There, OnlyFans gave you a comment there, Doc. So regarding Sneezy's health history and lithium prescription. So he falsely testified that he'd never seen a psychiatrist and claimed he received lithium medication by mistake after requesting Sudafed for cold symptoms.
Uh-huh.
Now, I don't know how many of you guys know about how well the medical staff is at prisons. It's hard to get medical treatment. And I don't think lithium is something that they would just pass out if someone said they needed some Sudafed. Just saying. Irish Amy and Ken Rosen, they're on the boat with me about Amy Lee. She's awesome. Okay. So back to our story. So subsequently, they discovered the medical records proved that Sneezy had been formally diagnosed with bipolar disorder, had been legitimately prescribed lithium by a psychiatrist. So critically, Smotherman's own pretrial notes demonstrated she possessed knowledge of Sneezy's actual psychiatric history and prescription details before allowing him to give false testimony. Right, Ken. You're not kidding. You're barely getting Sudafed, much less lithium. So there was also additional misconduct. I mean, we can't just stop with some false testimony. Beyond that, she violated the rule of sequestration, destroyed evidence, withheld witness statements from the defense. The pattern of prosecutorial misconduct directly disregards the Supreme Court's holding in NAPUE versus Illinois that prosecutors cannot knowingly present false testimony or allow perjured testimony to stand uncorrected when they're aware of the falseness of it. And that's not a word, but I made it one.
Yeah, you do that. You do that a lot.
I know, but you love that about me.
Yeah, but wait a minute, Farquaad. That is, I'm saying that right now. It's Shrek from Shrek, Farquaad. The lithium. They had to have blood tests every 3 months, and became toxic. So I had to come off of it. That's
wow.
So it's dangerous stuff.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
But I'm sorry you had to go through that, but that's...
Yes, I am too. Oh, and I am enjoying a nice glass of wine because my bestest buddy is here visiting us, and she made sure I had one. So, okay, so violating the rule of sequestration. I'm not saying that right, but anyway, Smotherman improperly interfered with Sneezy's testimony about a knife found at the crime scene. A note from her to Sneed's lawyer stated they needed to get Sneezy to discuss his testimony the following day. After that discussion, Sneezy changed his testimony to align with the prosecutor's theory. Oops. Evidence destruction and suppression. The prosecution destroyed crucial evidence before Glossip's 2004 retrial, including 10 items from a box of evidence they also failed to disclose. They also failed to disclose evidence that Sneezy had contemplated recanting his testimony and other evidence that contradicted key aspects of the state's case. I mean, think about that. He was going to recant. Now, the conflict-ridden appeals process, the court hearing Glossip's appeals was compromised by the former prosecutors who had personal connections to the case, creating inherent conflicts of interest. And we'll go into that a little deeper in just a moment. So the state acknowledged that the Oklahoma Attorney General publicly acknowledged that, hey, there was misconduct. It was significant enough to warrant a new trial, representing a rare instance where the state itself conceded that there was prosecutorial misconduct had tainted the conviction. So it went to the Supreme Court. Yes, it did. The Supreme Court emphasized that these actions undermined confidence in the trial's outcome. But here's where it gets insane if it isn't already crazy enough, people.
No, say it isn't true.
Even after the Attorney General presented all this evidence, the Oklahoma Court of Appeals basically shrugged and said, so what? Yeah, they said, so what? Now, this is Republican State Representative Kevin McDougal. He put it perfectly. He said, this case is no longer about justice. It is about power, pride, and politics. Can you believe it? I can. Now, Robert Hudson, he showed, he was a judge with the Court of Criminal Appeals. But the Court of Criminal Appeals that goes over the, if someone can get out, when they're appealing something, or if they can, get out of jail, or if they get clemency or whatever, it's stacked with former prosecutors. And Ken, I'm sure you would agree that for someone going to the Court of Criminal Appeals and you stack it full of former prosecutors, that's really not fair. And so Robert Hudson, the judge, and that's his younger picture and what he looks like now. Wanted to make sure. And that's Connie. That's Connie, the terrible prosecutor. Well, Robert Hudson refused to recuse himself despite the fact that prosecutor Connie Smotherman and her husband Richard also sit on the parole board.
Wait a minute, there's no conflict there?
I think Ken would say there is a big conflict there.
Wow.
They both worked in his district attorney's office. So both Connie and Richard, her husband, worked for Robert Hudson's, the judge, in his district attorney's office. Yeah, Ken, can't find the words. I hear you on that. Well, when Glossip's clemency hearing came up, this is her husband, Richard. The board was down to 4 members because Richard decided to recuse himself. He never said why, but he recused himself. Well, the board deadlocked 2-2, which counted as a denial. So the former prosecutors, of course, McDougal asked the obvious. He said, "Are you seeing a tie?" It's like, what? But the fallout from this case isn't over. Now, remember, so Richard did resign. So did this other woman, Kathy Stalker, because she said it just was not the job for her. She didn't want any part of it. She might have seen some things that she really didn't want to see on that board. That's all I can say.
Sure.
But Connie, there's more fallout for her. She's been teaching law students at the University of Oklahoma in Oklahoma City since 2004. This is the prosecutor that lied, hid evidence, was talking to witnesses, the main witness before to get him to change his story. She's teaching law students.
Yikes.
Yeah. Since 2004. Now the students and the alumni are saying, get her out of here, because the Supreme Court wrote a scathing ruling in February of this year. And Oklahoma University law student Travis Handler, he started a petition. He's demanding Smotherman's removal. He told reporters that pretty much everybody across the political spectrum at the law school agreed that this individual should not be teaching here. But it gets worse. 54 Oklahoma University law alumni wrote a blistering letter to the dean calling Smotherman's conduct a stain on the legal profession. They pointed out that she was a voice of authority in shaping hundreds, if not thousands, of new lawyers who looked to Miss Smotherman as a role model. The problem, she wasn't a role model at all. She was an extreme example of the worst ethical violations an attorney can commit.
I can't disagree with that.
Yeah. Ken says, I'm an admittedly prosecution-based lawyer. This is gross. Prosecution means seeking justice. Yep. There is no justice here. And that's the whole thing. Where is the justice? Mm-hmm. One of the students told a reporter, there's rumblings of students not being okay with it and not wanting our tuition money to be spent on her salary. The alumni demanded Dean Anna Carpenter fire Connie immediately and issue a statement denouncing her actions. Alumni leader Thomas Reese warned that if the university doesn't act, they'll sending a message that prosecutorial misconduct is tolerated and in some circles celebrated. And I said that really well.
Yes, you did.
Thank you, Doc. So what did the university do? Drum roll? Nothing.
Crickets.
Both Oklahoma University and Oklahoma City University have refused to comment, hiding behind personal matters policy. Thanks, Irish Amy. Smotherman is still teaching as of today. One Oklahoma University alumni put it perfectly. When it comes time to make a recommendation to a young college student about going to law school, they're not going to want to recommend going to a law school that won't do something when the spirit of justice demands it. The woman who helped keep an innocent man on death row for 3 decades is still teaching the next generation of lawyers about ethics and justice. Let that sink in.
Ethics? Oh my.
Yep. Ethics. She has none. I'm sorry. Let's see. I think I need to go back. In May of 2023, the U.S. Supreme Court granted a stay of execution when they reviewed the case. Justice Elena Kagan didn't miss words. She said during oral arguments, she said Sneezy was exposed as a liar. In February 2025, the Supreme Court ruled 5-3 that Glossip deserved a new trial, citing the prosecutor's failure to correct false testimony. I'd like to talk to the 3 that didn't agree, and maybe they should go back and check a few of their cases. I'm just saying, because if you didn't agree that this was wrong, oh boy.
Oh, I can't disagree with OnlyFans. That would, for prosecutors, the reputation is never good for defense attorneys, but I don't know. This was a case where it should have been,
Yeah, they like to make fun of the defense attorneys, but I mean, these prosecutors, yikes. Justice Sonia Soromoto wrote, had the prosecution corrected Sneezy on the stand, his credibility plainly would have suffered. That correction would have revealed to the jury not just that Sneezy was untrustworthy, but also that Sneezy was willing to lie to them under oath. And think about that. If you were on a jury, you find out this guy lied, would you trust any other thing he had to say? No. But of course, Oklahoma doubles down on the corruption. So, what happens after the highest court in the land says, Oklahoma, you got it wrong? Nothing. Except that Attorney General Drummond announced in June 2025 that he would retry Glossip for the first-degree deletion, just without seeking the death penalty this time. Oh, wow. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, you're doing him a favor.
Yep.
But here's the kicker. Glossip's attorney claims that there was a settlement agreement in 2023 where Drummond promised to release Glossip if his conviction was overturned. Now Drummond denies any binding agreement exists. Surprise, surprise. I don't ever get in trouble in Oklahoma, people. Okay, I'm just saying, don't get in trouble in Oklahoma. I don't know what would happen to you. Okay? But the fallout from the Glossip case isn't over. Now, this is his attorney, a picture of his attorney, Don Knight. And he is really working hard on this case. Remember, Glossip was convicted twice and sentenced to death for the 1997 killing of the Oklahoma City motel owner, Barry Van Treese. And that's right. He's already been convicted twice. He's had 2 trials. And now this guy's saying we're going for a third one. Robert Glossip has eaten his last meal 3 times because he's been scheduled to be executed 9 times, all while maintaining his innocence. So he's been scheduled 9 times, got so close that 3 times he had his last meal. Think about the pressure that would put on someone. Really. Traumatizing, you're right. Just mind-blowing. Even after the Supreme Court ordered a new trial, the delays continue. In August of 2025, the district judge, Heather Coyle, recused herself from the case without explanation. So this month, she was in charge of the case. She recused herself, causing further delays. Glossip remains in custody, his health reportedly deteriorating after nearly 3 decades behind bars. So here they're going to go for round 3. They won't let him out, while they're waiting for the new trial. Even though, hey, Capri Law, good to see you, darling. There's no evidence that he did anything. All they have is the word of Sneezy, the meth addict, who was 19 at the time, who was bipolar.
So basically what they're saying is we did you a bad one, but we got to try you anyway.
Yeah. Not only did they do a bad one, they had him eat his last meal 3 times. That means they're ready to put you gone.
Man.
Hey, Hellcat. Glad to see you, darling. So the prosecutorial misconduct that goes unpunished, conflicts of interest that would be a comedy if this wasn't a tragic case. The system is more concerned with being right than getting it right. When the state's own attorney general said they got it wrong, went so far as to put forth an investigation, when the U.S. Supreme Court then tells them you got it wrong, but the state's machinery keeps grinding forward anyway. What does that tell you about justice in America? How many times should the state be allowed to try someone for the same crime? Glossip has been convicted twice had his first conviction overturned for ineffective counsel, then had his second conviction thrown out by the Supreme Court now for prosecutorial misconduct. Now they want a third bite of the apple. It's like, what? So the question,
they would have to be different charges altogether, right? They can't charge them for the same thing again, right?
yeah, they can. That's what they're doing.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's really, I don't know what's going on in Oklahoma, but please, everybody stay out. If you live there, please be careful. That's all I can say. Because, you know, when it comes to the death penalty, there has to be absolute proof. They need to have done every test, scientific test. They need to know confidently that someone has done something deserving of the DP. Okay? You can't have questions, because if you make a mistake, you don't get to bring them back. Right? So, yeah, if you're going to do this, and sometimes we have these cases, especially involving children, where, you know, we're all like, yeah, this is the thing to do. But when you have a case like this, where we have no evidence, we have a lying kid who is a meth addict, who is bipolar. And let's be honest, someone that's bipolar, I'm sure he was masking his symptoms with the meth, you know? So this was just a colossal mess up. Yeah, Ken, that's what see Ken's comment about the vacation of the guilty verdict. And they're just right now. Hey, Semi Sharp, good to see you, darling. Right now, the US is just on target to delete as many people this year as they possibly can. And I'm sorry, down in Florida, it's like they want to win the trophy. You know, and I'm not saying that yay or nay with every case, but this one seriously is wrong. And you know what? It would keep me up at night, because
especially if when they have no evidence. I mean,
yeah,
they have the evidence of a meth addict. That's it.
Yeah.
So,
and he even wanted to recount his testimony, and they wouldn't let him. So Oklahoma can't admit their error, even when their own attorney general and the Supreme Court has told them they're wrong. They literally are incapable of any self-correction here. So when prosecutorial pride matters more than human life, when being tough on crime matters more than actual justice, when former prosecutors protect each other instead of protecting the truth, that's not a justice system, you guys. We have a machine that's designed to validate its own prejudice regardless of any evidence. Now, meanwhile, Barry Van Treese's widow, Donna, she believes Glossip was guilty. And he has no words that she said would ever change her mind on anything. She represents the collateral damage of a system that prioritizes finality over accuracy, because you have to stop and think. If Glossip is innocent, right, then the whole thing is Barry Van Treese and his family don't get justice. And that's the sad part. When the system fails like that, the victim doesn't get justice. And I've been reading some of the information that our dear Pammy, her daughter, Whitney, is with the Advocacy Con, and they had some information out, and I was going over it. And it talked about how when you have the misconduct and stuff, you know, and you're the one that's having to advocate for your family members in a lot of these cases, right? So you're your own advocate for your family member. And so I understand Mrs. Van Treese and how she might feel, but you're not doing any justice here. And when they do go to court on a case with the prosecution, the one family that works with their program made the comment that really the victim is just a means for the state or the prosecutor to do their job. With their experience, the victim didn't matter. It was just once it was put into the process, it was a process. And checking with the family, the victim's family, really didn't count. I don't know where Pammy is, Hellcat. She's probably busy. But Whitney and Pammy, you know, I've listened to Whitney and Melissa a long time ago before they ever got into their advocacy. And so when and she used to talk about her mom, Pammy. And so when I finally got to meet Pammy, and I'm like, "You're Whitney's Pammy? Your mama?" That was awesome. It was incredible. But yeah, so that's something to think about. You have to be the advocate for your loved one. So if you have someone that's been deleted or missing or whatever, sadly, you're the one that's the advocate. Thank you, Simi Sharp. So please remember that. It's really important. But, you know, come on, guys, what are your thoughts about this whole mess? I mean, how can they fix this? Because I think they've had enough bites of the apple. I mean, the man has been sitting on death row for 26 years. Well, actually, it's actually now 28 years. 28 years. It's just the last two, you know, but it was 26 years ago that they found this mistake and the hidden evidence and all that stuff. Who thinks that Connie, the cheater, should be kicked out of the law school? Because I'll go help pack her bags. Hey, Irish Amy, you're right. I feel like he's already served his sentence. I mean, the thought.
That's if he had any kind of sentence to serve.
Yeah. Well, can you? I mean, maybe therapists, you know, can make but I can't imagine the mental damage that would be done to you that you have eaten your last meal 3 times, that you're getting ready to face the DP, and then it gets called off. Not once, not twice, 3 times. I would think you would just about lose it. And no wonder they say he's deteriorating. I mean, who wouldn't? And especially if he's saying that he was innocent. Yeah, you're right, therapist. You know, he doesn't have a choice. And if he ever does get out of prison, the poor man's never going to be right. You know, it's never, you can't correct this mess. I mean, that just, when I came across this story, it was heartbreaking. It was like, you had the Supreme Court tell you messed up. Those are the big guys in the big house. Some of them are a little shaky, but, you know, especially the 3 that didn't vote with the others. But hey. Yes, Simi Sharp, you're right. Being innocent would make the damage worse. Capri, it is a rabbit hole. Trust me. I went down and had fun. There was a lot of information. I tried to pull out most of the parts, but there's a lot. And you know what? When it comes down to it, we don't know if Glossip here had anything to really do with it. We don't know if he did put Sneezy up to it. There were some things in Glossip's background. He was a little shaky, you know. The place that he worked at, the Budget Inn, was not the slickest place to work, you know.
Well, it sounds like an upright place, you know. So.
And there was some comments made that he might have, you know, done a little mischief with some money, you know. But that's a huge difference between that and having someone deleted. And why would he trust a 19-year-old meth addict if that was what he wanted to do? I mean, think about that. Would you trust Sneezy to do anything? I wouldn't.
I wouldn't trust them to sneeze right.
I think you're right about that, Doc. Poor Sneezy. I mean, his life's been a mess. Hopefully he's getting the correct medication, now because someone's making him, but we know that sadly, prison, you don't get good medical care. You don't get good food. Prison is not a place to go to, people. If you can avoid it, really, let's stay out. Oh, Hellcat.
Yeah.
Thank you, darling.
That's nice. That's nice to know.
I also wanted to let everybody know that Doc's going to put an email in our description from now on. It's tips for the number 4 Trial Junkies United. So if somebody has a tip on a case and you don't want to deal with the police, or you want to contact a family member, like last week we had Melissa on talking about her brother's disappearance. I'm not going to give out Melissa's email address, but if you drop me a tip, I will send it to her. And then if she decides to send you an email, that's all cool for Melissa. I just don't want to put her information out there. So going forward, we're going to have that email posted. So people, if you have a tip or some knowledge you want to drop, it'll be there. Hey, if you got a suggestion for a case, drop it in there, or just want to chat. We're cool, But let's talk about some missing people, because that's what we do toward the end of our show. Is we always have to talk about our missing. And our first is a native man named Eugene Frank Manuel Jr. He was 51 when he disappeared on June 30th. So he's missed a birthday. His NamUs number is M as in Michael, P as in Paul, 148902. His last contact, June 30th, he left Sales, Arizona, which is in Pima County. He's 5'10". Hey, alternate point of view. Racy, thanks. No, you don't get good medical care. They don't care in prison. So Frank is 5'10", 190 pounds. He has short gray or partially gray hair, his mustache and goatee, brown eyes. They said he obviously has a broken nose. He was last seen wearing a dark gray t-shirt, blue denim shorts, and black steel-toed boots or shoes. He's from the Tohono O'odham National Tribe. And so the police there are, their number is 520-383-5275. And they said that he was last seen, he was at his sister's house, okay? And in Sales, Arizona, but he was going to his own village of Pia Oil at the Tohono O'odham Nation, and he was hitchhiking from Sales to his home, and he was last seen at the intersection of State Highway 86 and Federal Route 1, where he was dropped off by an unknown motorist. And that's the last anybody's had contact with him. So the detective is Mike Rivas. Now they have a case number, which is 250-802-159. Their number is 520-383-3275. Remember, if you've seen him, call the number, call 911, send us the tip. We'll get it out there. Now, this is Rosalinda Claremont. She's only 15. She went missing August 9th from Rapid City, South Dakota. She has brown hair, brown eyes. She's 5 foot, 110 pounds. She was last seen wearing a black sweater, gray sweatpants, and black Jordan shoes. She has a scar by her left eye. If you have any information about Rosalinda, please contact the Sioux Falls Police Department at 605-394-4131. Okay. Now, the next two are twins, twin brothers, Terrence Trueblood and Toby Trueblood. They're from the Pine Ridge, South Dakota reservation, and they've been missing since August the 3rd. They're 17. Terrence is 5'8", 145 pounds, black hair, brown eyes, and last they saw, he was with his brother. Toby is 5'9", 145 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. They think they're together, but call the Pine Ridge Ogallala Sioux Tribal Police at 605-867-5111 if anybody's seen them. Our next one is Ruby Rose Linden. She's only 15. She's from Avondale, Arizona. She's been missing since June 29th. She has the number in the National Children's webpage, Amazon Michael 4685-52286. She has black hair, brown eyes, 5'4" and 126 pounds. If you have any idea where she could be, call the Avondale Police at 623-333-7001 or 7000. You can also call the National Association for Exploited Children, Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-843-5678. So those are our missing Native and Indigenous people, and we put them at the end of every case. Sometimes we may put another minority. We focus on the Native and Indigenous because they don't get focused, and that's wrong. So we're going to correct it, and we're going to say their name and try and hope that they get found because it's important. We're all part of the human family. Now, before we end tonight, somewhere in a jail cell, you guys, Richard Glossip, he's 61 years old now. And he waits for Oklahoma to decide whether they're going to try and delete him a third time. Finally admit what everyone's already knows. They got the wrong man. Every killer relies on our silence. So don't be why we share another story on this channel. If you know something, say something, speak up. Because it wasn't a mannequin. It never is a mannequin. And until next time, we're going to stay informed, compassionate. We're going to seek justice. And remember, when you're out and about, don't be glued to that cell phone. I know we all like our cell phones, but be aware, not only for your safety, but look out, because we have people that have disappeared. They may be trafficked, and you may be able to identify someone and get them help. Now, I'm not asking you to rush in and save anyone because I don't want anyone in danger, but I am asking you, if you see something, you say something, because it's very important. And I want you to remember that if you like our stuff, please buy us a coffee, but don't do it if you're having a hard financial time. Please don't. It's if you can. You can support us by watching, sharing. After the video goes live again, or not live, but after it's posted, make a comment. Okay? It means a lot. And you are supporting us by being here. And that means a lot. New buy a coffee pro. Okay. Racy, you and I are going to have to chit chat, darling. But, yeah, got a new song. You know me, I'm always getting a new song. I'm going to be doing putting some videos to some of our music, but I love you all. Remember, our motto is silence is betrayal. So if we know something, we're going to say something. And you guys, I appreciate you all being here. Oh, Tracy needs a new song for her new video. Well, Racy, you're going to have to chat with me, darling. But I love you all. And you guys have a good night. Thank you for spending a little time with Doc and I. Doc, did you have a good time?
Always.
And I also want to say a huge thank you to my bestest buddy who was here, and she cooked tonight. It was awesome, you guys, and brought wine, and we're going to play some Monopoly or something.
I'm
I mean, we like
full. I'm full, but that stuff was so good.
You're ready for seconds, aren't you?
But yeah, okay.
Ooh, yeah, I gotta get with Chris too. He's got a case for me. So I love you guys. You mean so much to us. And we, that's what it's all about, is sharing and caring and getting the information out. So let's build a community. The girls have put our Discord server out there. We also get support from the Justice Seekers Discord or Seeking Justice Discord. So we'd like to give them a shout out because we appreciate all they do for us. So we're here to support each other. If you have a tip, send it to our new email, tips@trialjunkiesunited@gmail.com. I love you guys. Have a good night. Ciao.
Lady Justice used to stand so tall, blindfold on, she'd hear us all. Rich or poor didn't matter then, truth would speak, justice would win. But somewhere along this winding road, the scales grew heavy and the system slowed down. Money talks and power plays while victims wait for better days. Where has justice gone? Where did she flee? The blindfold slipping. Now we see the game is rigged, the deck is stacked for those who can't fight back. Where has justice gone? Predators get off easy while families mourn what can't be fixed. The courtroom doors swing both ways, but not for those who can't pay. We must fight for those we've lost, count every tear, pay every price. Stand tall when systems fail, seeking truth behind the veil. Where has justice gone? Where did she flee? The blindfold slipping. Now we see the game is rigged, the deck is stacked for those who can't fight back. But where has justice gone? Protect the innocent, protect the child, no matter race or creed or color, rich or poor, it shouldn't matter. Justice is what we're after for all. Affluence can't buy a free pass when children's safety is what we ask. Every child deserves the same protection in justice's name. From the courthouse to the highest court, justice feels like a last resort. But we won't stop, we won't give in until justice lives again. We'll bring justice home. Make her see that equal treatment. The key, fix the scale, straighten the stack for those who can't fight back. We'll bring justice home. Lady Justice, hear our call. Stand for one, stand for all. Put the blindfold back in place. Give us truth, give us grace.